stop. You are doing this totally wrong. Hi everyone, my name is James Robinson. Welcome back to Get Good at Golf. If you want to do just that, make sure you do subscribe to this channel. So what we're talking about today with Big Dog, we're talking about driver. We're going to talk about how to hit longer, straighter drives, hopefully hit more fairways and generically lower your scores. So what are we talking about when it comes to setup? Setup is so important when it comes to hitting driver. One of the world's best golf coaches once told me, if you could either have the perfect swing or the perfect setup, which one would you go for? I said, well, I'll have the perfect swing, please, because that means I'm going to play better golf, lower my handicap and beat all my friends. He said, you actually want the curve. Good that, weren't it? You actually want the perfect setup, because without the perfect setup, you cannot have the perfect swing. There's also no such thing as a perfect swing, but there is such thing as a perfect setup. So if you just to stand too far away here, a lot of people just think, well, the driver's going to be out the toe, so generally you're going to hit it out the toe and it's not going to be the best strike, so you're going to lose ball speed. If you stand too close again, you're just going to hit it out the neck or even the shaft. Again, you're going to lose ball speed. But so obviously it is all coming down to the toe of the club. If you want to have the toe of the club up in the air, the shaft flattens off. So the club's sat flat, but the toe's up in the air, and vice versa. If you were to hit a slice from standing close to it, I would imagine generally what you're going to see is a takeaway that kind of comes a little bit steep and then a downswing that also comes steep, but because you've got the wrong lie angle straight away, it's also going to enhance that left to right movement of the ball. Not what we want to see. So I've told you what not to do. We've spoken about this at great length, that basically you want that club pretty flat. You don't mind seeing the toe of the club a little bit off the ground. That's something that we used to get taught. You should be able to slide a kind of pound coin, especially if it was an iron, under the toe of the club, because the centrifugal forces of the shaft make the club bow and make the shaft get in the right place. I think I nailed that. I'm not entirely sure. Try spelling centrifugal in the comments, by the way. That's from the PGA days, Chris. But Chris has got some great drills for us for this as well. It's a really, really interesting thing that could totally change your game if you get this right. And all I want to do is make sure that I stand nice and tall, I tilt from the hips, bend the knees a bit, so I'm athletic. If I wanted to, I could jump in the air there, Air Jordan, but I want to also make sure that the club is the right distance away. So if I put the club down on the floor there, you'll see actually if I have my heel towards the back end of that grip, generally I'm in the right place now. So if I were to pick that club up, I'm in the perfect setup. I'm not too far over, I'm not too far up, so it's not dictating how I take the club away if I was stood the wrong distance away or in the wrong posture. So now from here, I feel like this is the perfect place just to unwind and hit a nice drive down the middle of that fairway. If you weren't to get this right, it makes it so much more difficult to hit good golf shots, consistent golf shots and straight golf shots. Chris, let's hit him with some drills that can help them get good at golf.
So guys, I just thought James was the drill master then, as he gave a fantastic drill that I've never seen. So dropping that club in between your legs will help you get into that perfect setup. And setup is one thing that we talk about a lot, and the reason is because, like James mentioned, we can't get the perfect swing or into a good position if we don't have the perfect setup. We're not trying to make golf hard, we're trying to make it easy for you to get good. And getting into that setup is one of the biggest things, because how many people have been told, okay, I need to get my clubs nice and flat. If they're fitted correctly, they will sit flat. And that's where we probably see more than anything that people get a little bit upright, arms matching the shaft there, and that's when we start to see that club picked up. And how many times we see that finish, feet haven't moved, we've not used the ground, we've not sequenced, and we're going to hit a big slice, because 90% of golfers probably hit that slice straight over there and they can't get rid of it. And that's what we want to be able to do, is start to cure that. And what we can do nice and easy for you is use 2 golf balls. Once we're in that setup, we want to think about that take.
I can tell why you're stuttering, Chris, because behind you, wow.
That's a fluorescent group, and there's also seagulls on the fairway. Right, so what we want to do, once we're in that good setup now, we've done James's drill of dropping the club, then we want to start to see what you maybe are doing wrong. Are you still taking it out there? That might mean you're still not in that great posture, because if you get too close, we'll start to see that club, if I turn my body, it'll go outside of that. We're already outside of that, and we're then going to obviously be encouraging that left to right shot for the right-handed golfer. If I'm too far away and reaching for that golf ball, we'll start to see that it works very much inside here. We'll see it go inside of that golf ball. And it's a good reference point for you, because we can start thinking, you might think, oh no, I've done exactly what James has said, but once we've had a couple of looks down the hole or down the driving range, we might sneak back into that position. And from here, my weight is all very much in my toes, and then I'm going to drop that club inside, and you can see I'm already losing my angle, so I'm not going to be able to get that club set well, and then I'm not going to be able to get the right angle of attack. So once we've got that perfect distance from the ball, my arms are hanging naturally, we'll start to see if I just move my chest away, that will come straight over this golf ball. So it's just inside on the way back, and then from there it's very easy for me to get into this strong position at the top, and then from there we know sequencing down, we then want to be hitting up on the golf ball. And this is where we can then switch the drill round. Once we've got the takeaway nice, then we want to think about on the way through, we want to be hitting up onto that golf ball. We want to be hitting up. If we can hit up on the golf ball, we're going to help with the launch, we're going to lower the spin, we're going to get more carry, and more carry hopefully leads to a longer total distance. So I've got my posture now, I've got my ball position, I know now my takeaway is in a good place, but from here we've got to think, right, I want that club to start to work up. So naturally, if I turn and this left shoulder works up through impact, that club is going to be coming off with loft off, but then up and over that golf ball. We shouldn't start to see that I'm hitting down and starting to make contact with that. If we do start to see that, we know, well, if I've got the perfect position, I know that this left shoulder must be working down through impact instead of it working up. And that's a massive thing there. That's talking about, again, body rotation and sequence. We want to do that. I'm not hitting up by doing this, because then we're going to top the ball and it might hit that one anyway. So once I'm in that position and I feel like I'm nice and strong, the toe of the driver is ever so slightly in the air, and from there I can make a nice positive swing, turn my body, feel that left shoulder work up. That should start to see you hit up on the golf ball nicely. A nice draw up the left hand side of the fairway there in play. And if you can do these things on the driving range, guys, that is going to help you.
I've got one more.
Oh,
the drill master
he's
come
back
here.
in.
So what I like about what Chris has told us there is, yes, it gets us visually thinking about taking the club away perfectly, but a drill that I got from when I was having lessons when I was younger, because my takeaway was a nightmare. I couldn't get it on plane, I couldn't get the club nice and low on the takeaway, and that means you're always kind of going to be fighting it from the top of the backswing. So what I used to do, imagine there's still a ball on this tee, I used to actually work on taking that club away nice and low and rolling that ball back. So you can see how if I roll the ball back on a straight line here, it actually gets me taking the club away. It's easier with an iron than a driver because the driver's got a curve on the back, but roll it back, you can see how that sets me in a much nicer position at the top of the backswing. So it just gets you set properly, and it obviously moves that ball out of the way. So you could do that by hitting balls. You can roll the ball back, the ball's obviously moved. If you're on a driving range, put a range basket right behind it so the ball does go straight. Then from there you're in a great position to hit through, and if you have another ball here, you're killing two birds with one stone, two drills with one master. Guys, thanks for watching. If you want to get good at golf, make sure you do smash that subscribe button below, and apart from that, we'll see you all tomorrow. Goodbye.